So we are expecting a baby boy at the end of June. You can see right there. I don't know if you can read that. Boy dad era. And at our 20-week anatomy ultrasound, we found that he has a cleft lip, and they might have a cleft palate as well. So we were referred to a maternal fetal medicine specialist, where we did another ultrasound to determine if there was a palate as well. So when we went to that appointment, we did see a cleft palate as well as a cleft lip. And they had to also do more images on his brain as well. And so after that ultrasound was done and we talked to the doctor, they said that they might have found some sort of brain abnormality, and that due to development something was not right. And so we were referred to do some genetic testing as well as a fetal MRI to determine the extent of the brain abnormality, or if it's even there at all. And so, yeah.
So, yeah, we were referred to do the genetic testing, and in that process of waiting for those results, we just really leaned into prayer and leaned into our community around us here at Red Hills, our friends and family. Michael and I were both part of groups, and we told our groups, and we were just asking everybody we knew if they could pray for peace for us, for wisdom for us, for a miracle for our baby boy. And we got the results of the genetic testing first, and they came back clear, and there was no genetic syndromes or disorders or anything like that. And then on the morning of my birthday, we got a phone call from my doctor with the MRI results, and they were also clear, and he had a healthy brain and a healthy, there were no abnormalities found. It was a healthy brain structures. And he does have a cleft lip and palate, and that's going to be a journey for us. But God really came through and answered all of our prayers for the miraculous healing and whole brain and his development there. And we really saw the power of prayer in that situation and leaning into all of our community here and seeing God's miraculous healing and God's power.
So in 2019, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I went through treatment, and I was in remission, and that was awesome. And then, within the last year or so, I had some headaches, and I started to not be able to see out of my left eye. And I made an eye doctor appointment, and I went in, and they're like, oh, maybe it's blocked here, doc. And then, but keep your regular appointment. And I went back, and I'm like, I really can't see. And they're like, oh, yeah, you're like legally blind in that eye. We're gonna do some scans, and they were like, yeah, something's pushing on your optic nerve. So great. So they ordered an MRI, and I went and got the MRI, and it was really evident that God was taking care of the timing. Like a big medical institution, and everybody was sort of working together. And I got an MRI that night. And our friend is a nuclear medicine physicist, and he looked at the scans with my husband that evening, and he's like, somebody should call you tomorrow. Somebody needs to call you. I'm sorry. And so my husband got on the phone with my oncologist, who I already had an appointment set up with on Friday. I just happened to have an appointment on Friday. They looked at the scans. She called me on Thursday after school and said, I'm really sorry. The cancer has spread to your brain and your skull. I've talked to your radiation oncologist, we've set up appointments, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, it's back, yikes. I thought it was completely healed, what the heck? And so things moved pretty quickly from there, PET scans and things, and they said it was in my hips and in my spine and in my femur. And I had more MRIs and got fitted for a mask for radiation. They said 12 treatments of radiation. And so my husband and I were gonna go away for the weekend, and they said, I got a call just before we get to the area where you lose service, and they said, oh, we met with the tumor board, you're gonna have a craniotomy. You're gonna have surgery, and we're gonna remove some of that mass behind your eye. And I was like, okay, I was ready for radiation, but what the heck? So I went in that next week for the craniotomy, and I don't remember the next day at all. I was told that I got up and walked around and talked to people, but I don't remember it. And then for some reason my body just dumped sodium. And I didn't know who my kids were. I didn't know who my family was. I didn't, like, the doctors told my sister, you should call your parents. This is end of life. This is, and then
they transferred her over to the ICU, and they tried to bring her sodium levels back slowly. They said if they shoot up, it's other bad things happen. And so we were on the phone with people asking them to pray, and her sodium level shot up. She had no negative side effects. After her surgery, the left side of her face was just so swollen that you could hardly recognize her. And they said that's only going to get worse over the course of the day. It just went down, and every hour she was a new person. And by the end of the week, long story short, she was out of the ICU, but it's like everything the doctors said either didn't happen in a good way, or it happened twice as fast.
Pretty amazing.
So,
and while I was out of it, I knew I was out of it, but God had given me a verse the week before. Like, God, what do you have to say to me? I just need something to hang on to. What do you have to say to me? I'd love to have a dream about it. Talk to me about what you have to say. And I didn't have a dream about it, so I did the silly, like, I'm just going to go to my Bible app and go to the highlighted things. I'm going to roulette it, and I closed my eyes and did that and put my finger down. And the verse that came up was Jeremiah 33:6, and it says, "Yet I will certainly bring health and healing to it. I will heal them all, and they will experience the abundance of my peace and truth." Yeah. And so when I was kind of in and out of consciousness, and like I knew something wasn't right, but I didn't know. I could tell the doctors didn't like my responses, and I'm like, clearly I'm not understanding what you're saying, or the words coming out of my mouth. I just kept remembering, God said he's going to heal me. God said he's going to heal me. This is going to be okay. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And he is.
Yeah.
He's healing me. And 14 days of oral chemo, no side effects. I feel awesome. I've had an hour of radiation on my brain, 15 minutes of radiation on my femur. They're like, we'll check again in a couple months, see if you need any more. So, pretty amazing.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.